Welcome to Easy ESL. Writing and Grammar, where Mr. SVO takes you from word level to sentence level writing. Our mission is to spread easy ESL writing and grammar to all corners of the world. All you have to do is watch, like, and subscribe. Introduction, Video 1. In Easy ESL, you will learn the 3 basic levels of grammar writing. These 3 levels are Level 1, word level. Level 2, phrase level. Level 3, clause level. Level 1 is where we begin to learn any language. In Level 1, you must learn or acquire words to use not only as vocabulary, but words that must be placed correctly within the meaning or context of the sentence. In order to truly know a word, you must study the word with these 3 things in your mind. First, you must know the spelling and meaning of the word. Most incorrectly stop there. With spelling and meaning, you must also know the part of speech and a context or situation in which you would use the new word. For example, if you were to learn the word scientist, you would memorize the spelling and meaning, which is a person who studies or has a career in science. But do not stop there. You must also know the part of speech, which is a noun, in order to know where to put the word when you write a sentence. Lastly, you must think of a situation or context in which you would use the word, like, for example, when discussing finding a cure for some disease. Okay, let's look at this example. If we were to acquire the word scientist, we need to know the spelling, the meaning, the part of speech, noun, and the context in which the word would appear. For example, this sentence uses cure as the situation the scientist would be involved in. Now, look at SVO. This is as difficult as I want writing and grammar to be. Every sentence has a subject in the S position in the front of the clause. The subject is a noun or pronoun. As we see in the sentence example, scientist is a noun, but it is also the subject of the sentence. Before the noun, we can have an article, an adjective, an adverb. Here we have the, which is an article. Articles tell us whether it is a specific scientist or or any scientist. An means any noun. The means specific noun. An means general noun. We will review articles in a following video. Following, we have the verb, finds. This is an action. This means the scientist is doing this action. And the verb is in the verb position, which is following the subject always. There are a few cases where the verb is before the subject. We will discuss that in a later video. Continuing, we see another article. Now here is a general article. Instead of specific scientist, we know the scientist we're talking about. This one is a cure because we don't know the cure. So it's a general idea now. So this is the indefinite article A, going before a noun in the object position. You see here, cure is a noun and it is in the object position. So this is grammar. This is a sentence. Of course, it's a simple sentence, but guess what? All sentences are made like this. All sentences must contain one of these. And if you make a more complicated sentence, it will have two or more of these combined together. By the way, conjunctions are joining words. They can join any two or more parts of speech. They can be dog and cat. It can be adjectives, fat and slow. It could be adverbs, walked slowly and carefully. You see, the conjunction joins two like parts of speech, not different. You can't join a subject and a verb. You don't say subject and verb. Okay? You say subject and subject. Tommy and Billy. Those are conjunctions. We will review those in a later video. This is where I want you to be, where I want your heads to start thinking about grammar, sentences, words, meanings, placement. Where does the word go? This is so important. No one teaches this, therefore everyone has a different understanding of grammar. Level 1, word level, continue. In the word level, you must understand what type or kind of word you have learned. There are 8 parts of speech you must learn. These are nouns, pronouns, articles, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, and conjunctions. Level 2, phrase level. In level 2, you begin combining the words you have learned. A phrase is a group of words that have two or more words. However, a phrase differs from a clause in that a phrase cannot be a complete sentence because a phrase does not contain a subject and a verb. It may have one or the other, but a phrase cannot have both a subject and a verb. For example, here are phrases we use inside or in addition to clauses. A phrase can be a part of the subject-verb-object structure, but a phrase cannot stand alone as a complete sentence. Here are some examples. Here's a phrase, the hairy black dog. We have the, an article. We have two adjectives here. Adjectives are words that describe nouns. This is describing what kind of dog, what type of dog, a hairy black dog. We can have two here. We don't need conjunction between. We will review that in a later video. And here ending with a noun. This is a noun phrase. Why? Because it does not have a verb. It cannot be an SVO. Following, we have ran down the street. Ran is a verb. Down is a preposition. Prepositions join and relate the object to the rest of the clause. Article is the. Street is noun. Now, this is a verb phrase only because it only has V and O. Here's your V position. Here's your O position. You may say, well, Mr. SVO, there is a noun. Why isn't it a complete sentence? We have a verb, we have a noun. That's SV. No, that's VO. We must consider position in the sentence. This is after the verb because there is the verb. This is only a verb phrase. It cannot be a complete sentence. Lastly, we have across the street. Here we have across is a preposition. Again, prepositions connect and relate the objects to the rest of the clause. Here we have article. Articles tell us specific or indefinite noun. It is the street. We know the street. It's not any street. And then here we have street, which is a noun. There is no verb anywhere here. And also there's another rule. The subject noun cannot be with a preposition. Again, the subject noun cannot be with a preposition. This has to be the O. And this is called a prepositional phrase. Again, a phrase is a group of words that cannot be a complete sentence. Level 3, clause level. Thankfully, the third level, or clause level, of this course on YouTube is the top level of writing and grammar. If you know this level and the 3 levels of writing and grammar, you will be able to make every sentence in English. Level 3, clause level continued. In the clause level, you will know and use the structure of English, SVO, to make the 3 different types of sentences. These are the simple sentence with 1 independent clause, the complex sentence with 1 independent clause, and 1 dependent clause. Now, not all clauses with SVO are complete sentences. Some of them are, some are not. We will learn the distinction and how to make each one. And finally, the compound complex sentence with 2 independent clauses, compound, and 1 dependent clause, complex. This is the big one. There is no bigger or more complicated sentence in the English language. If you are writing a sentence bigger than this one, you are making a mistake. This is the biggest sentence you should make with 3 clauses. Finally, with examples of level 3 clause level, we will end making sentences in English. If you move from the word to sentence level in this course on YouTube, you will be able to write these 3 kinds of sentences. First, a simple sentence. Simple sentence has 1 independent SVO clause. Here we see the example. I ride my bike, period. We have a pronoun in the subject position. As we know, the subject can be nouns or pronouns. We have a verb in the verb position. We have an adjective. This is actually a possessive pronoun, which we will discuss in a later video in parts of speech. But you see, it is describing what bike, which bike, whose bike. It's describing the noun, so it is an adjective in this clause or sentence. And here's the O, object. Remember, we don't need an object. It's not necessary. This is still a clause. Okay, it's not a very complete sentence, I ride, but it is a independent clause. Now, the next kind of sentence is compound sentence. Compound sentence is 2 independent clauses together combined with a conjunction. Here we see same sentence, I ride my bike, with SVO. And then we have a coordinating conjunction here followed by a comma. You must have a comma and a coordinating conjunction to combine 2 independent clauses. Here is the second clause. Susie rides her bike. SVO. You must always be concerned with SVO because this is how we make all 3 kinds of sentences, especially the compound, which is here. 2 clauses, independent. Finally, the biggest sentence in English is the compound complex sentence. It has 2 independent clauses and 1 dependent clause. Here's the example. When it is playtime, comma, I ride my bike, comma, and Susie rides her bike. We see here, this is a dependent clause. You cannot say this alone. For example, when it is playtime, period. You hear that sentence and it does not sound complete because it is not. We have SVO, yes, but this makes it, this marks it as a dependent clause. You must have, with this clause, at least one of these. You see? Okay? Now, when it is playtime, I ride my bike and Susie rides her bike. We have SVO dependent clause followed by two independent clauses. Now, the complex sentence I did not put up here, but it's very simple. A complex sentence is this clause plus this clause in a period. This is a complex. It has one dependent, one independent if you ended it here. With another clause, it becomes compound complex. So you see complex here. When it is playtime, I ride my bike. Also, what is interesting is you can flip this and say, I ride my bike when it is playtime. And if you do so, you don't need a comma or a connection. Okay, now, some of that may be confusing, but this is where we're going, to the top of English writing and grammar. And you will know the basic structure of English, and you will use it to know words, place words in sentences with correct meaning and context, and grammar. Thank you very much. Stay tuned for the next video.